And welcome back to the show. Well, today the Supreme Court appeared split over whether or not Obamacare will continue to be the law of the land. The debate centers around the legality of tax subsidies given to those who live in states that decided not to set up their own health care exchange in using the federal health care workplace. The White House was pleased with today's arguments. Here again is Press Secretary Josh Earnest.
Generally at the top that the administration was quite pleased with the performance of the Solicitor General in making a strong case to the court about the constitutionality of the law and the clear reading that we believe is there. We also feel like the session was useful because it gave him an opportunity to illustrate how clearly the law reads and how strong our legal arguments are in the case.
Well, I suspect our next guest may disagree with Mr. Earnest. Grace Marie Turner, president of the Galen Institute, a healthcare think tank in D.C., was at the Supreme Court and joins us now from Virginia. Welcome, Grace Marie.
Hello, Joe. Nice to be with you. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi,
So give us a quick overview of what happened today.
Well, you know, it very likely is going to be a 5-4 decision once again on this hugely consequential question about how much authority does the federal government have over our lives. And it was really interesting to listen to Josh Ernst basically say that the statute is clear. The statute is very clear. It says that you only get subsidies for your citizens if your state sets up an exchange. It does not say that if you default to the federal exchange. So if you look at the strict statutory language, you have to side with the petitioners, which say the IRS acted illegally when it allowed these subsidies to go through the federal exchanges.
Grace Marie, it's Rick. Just one quick question, then I'm going to have a follow-up for you. But having read the transcript, I know I was surprised by Justice Kennedy and some of his questioning. Now, if we've learned anything from the last Obamacare case, it does not pay to try and figure out what this court's going to do based on their questions. But I got to believe that anti-Obama people tonight are a little bit unnerved by the direction that Kennedy was going. Is that true?
Well, Justice Kennedy was basically saying if the petitioners are right, then the law is not constitutional, which is really not what's before the court. It's the statutory interpretation.
Well, I don't think that's what he was saying.
Well, he's saying...
I think what he was saying is the petitioner's case would put an unconstitutional situation into effect because you would have the Congress holding over the availability of subsidies. If the state wants to get them, they're going to have to establish an exchange. So I'm not sure I agree.
Coercion of the states, which is not constitutional.
Right, and that's why I think that was the point he was making.
But then if he says that it is constitutional, that if he holds with the government, basically he's saying, well, the IRS can rewrite laws willy-nilly and spend billions of dollars of taxpayer money, which is what Justice Kennedy also said.
Another quick question. How do you square the way, I understand your interpretation that you gave us when you started off, and certainly there's a legal argument to support it, but how do you square that with the language we got in the last Obamacare case where the court absolutely said in what they wrote that you have to take the entirety of the law into consideration?
Well, this is the entirety of the law shows that one section allows subsidies if you set up your own exchange, the other section does not. And it doesn't just say it one time, Rick. It says it at least 9 times that your subsidies are available if you have an exchange established by the state, not just once. It's not a typo. So they wrote that into the statute, and we've actually done some research that shows congressional intent that committees in the Senate that were working to first write this law, one committee had language that would have allowed subsidies through the federal exchange. Another committee didn't. When they merged them, they didn't put that language in. That's pretty clear. Congressional intent was to not allow the subsidies through the federal exchanges as a way of coercing the states to participate, which is not legal.
Grace Marie Turner, you get the last word, and you deserve it. Good job. Nice talking to you. We'll have you back on as this case moves along. So, guys, one thing I did want to bring up to Grace Marie, which we just didn't have the time for, but I want to present it to you. She was making the argument of the clear language, right?
Yeah.
Now, you and I did this earlier before we came on the air. I said, what if I said the words to you, Congress shall not act and I stopped right there. Now, those are the opening words of a segment of the Constitution. But if I stop there without taking the entirety of the entire article, then
you get the Congress we have now.
we'd have right, but we would have a very different interpretation. So, is it legitimate to say you take these 4 words together and that should somehow define the entire law?
Well, yes, because you're a lawyer, established by the state. 4 words, they're pretty clear. I mean, obviously this is arguable, but, and I like Scalia's comment. This may not be the law we want, but it's the law we've got. Established by the state seems pretty clear.
Yeah. I believe the law is legal, though, Bill.
Yeah, but I mean,
ultimately,
The legal law is legal? I didn't understand.
I have no legal background whatsoever, but I thoroughly thought that they were going to strike it down under the mandate of saying you have to buy something. I mean, that's what I originally thought, so apparently I was wrong there. This one, I really don't know where it'll go. I'm hoping, obviously, because I really don't like Obama. I think he's a terrible president, and I don't think
that should not be
I don't think he loves America, Rick.
But that shouldn't be the issue.
But no, it shouldn't be the issue. But it is the fact that I think it will get struck down, because I think this is a clear and case point of taking what it says.
Let me go into a hypothetical.
Yeah. I want to get your vote on whether you think it survives or not. I'm going to be taking bets here, by the way.
I didn't think it would survive
the
first run, and I didn't think Justice Roberts was going to rule the way he did. So I'm not betting that.
You're not
race.
going for that. Smart.
No,
You're smart.
no.
This could go either way.
Yeah.
It absolutely could.
Absolutely.
What was your hypothetical?
My hypothetical is, what if it does get struck down? Then what happens?
Major mess.
All the people
why
that are
does that
covered
matter?
under
Why
it.
does that matter? And
you
they
made
kept
that
bringing
point.
that up in the court today.
And
It would be
right.
disastrous. So what?
You make an extremely fair
disastrous.
point. No, you make a very fair point. We're not supposed to determine constitutionality based on whether or not it creates a mess.
Right.
So you make a fair point. That said, they will absolutely consider whether or not it's going
what's
to
to
make a
stop the
mess.
president from unilaterally changing that language before the ruling, or changing it after the ruling to say, oh, I mean, he's made these unilateral changes before
Well,
in the
let's
bill.
see if he does it.
So
Carl,
it'd be
I
interesting.
suspect
You're implying that he would actually issue an executive order.
I'm sorry. What was I thinking? I left my mind with my tie.
I suspect that won't be happening, but you could. Yeah.
But that's the whole thing, though. I mean, what fills the vacuum if this law goes away and all these people that are covered? It would be. Now, I don't say you rule as a result of, oh my God, what could happen? But Bill, I'll just give you the last word. I mean, then we just go back to where we were before.
No, it's worse than that.
Well, it is. It is worse
Yeah.
than that. But again, you can't consider what that was going to be. You can't say it's going to be a disaster if we go unconstitutional.
Take your point.
That is the last word on that, but I have a feeling not the last word on that conversation. So, coming up next on the Daily Wrap, Attorney General Eric Holder believes Ferguson, Missouri police are racist. Go figure. We'll talk about that next. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.